Hi there, beautiful people. It's me, Maria, and it's noon, and we're about to get started. So, many of you know me already, and you know that I'm a midwife, and you know I'm an herbalist, but some of you don't know that I'm a Qigong teacher. And really, some of you don't even know what Qigong is, or not quite clear of what Qigong is. So this episode of Apothecary Wisdom, I'm going to go deeper into the conversation about the many benefits and the gifts of a Qigong practice. Because for me, personally, my practice is at the very core, or it's at the heart of my being and at the heart of my physical and spiritual expression. Like, I wouldn't be able to show up in the world the way I do without it. And that's really true for me. Because Qigong is simultaneously incredibly grounding and stabilizing, and it's uplifting and expanding. And with the movement, finding the stillness in the movement, and then finding the movement in the stillness, it becomes this embodied practice that's ecstatic, right? And it invokes joy, and it's very practical. Right? And so those that know about what Qigong is, they know that the benefits of Qigong, some well known, are to calm stress and to calm anxiety, to help you sleep better, to help you cope with intense emotions, to boost your immune system, and to help heal pain, right? And help heal heartache. And so today, what I would like to do today, my intention for this video, is to give an overarching view of what Qigong is, how I merge with Qigong, and what contributions I have to the art and to you, okay? So I encourage you to comment in the comments to tell us who here has a Qigong practice and who here isn't quite sure what Qigong is. And both of you are in the right place. And so I give you a deep bow and a heartfelt welcome. And if you're watching this video later on YouTube and on SoundCloud, do me a solid. Push like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell. Okay? So let's get started and start talking about what Qigong is, because I want to give you some context, and background, and overview of what Qi is and what Qigong is. So in brief, okay, what is Qi, right? So Qi, there's lots of ways to describe Qi. You know, it's known as life force, energy, but Qi is energy, and it's often described like electricity or like water because it flows in currents throughout your body. And there are several types of Qi, because when you think about it, all energy is Qi. But using the language of Qigong, they would describe Qi as heaven Qi, so Qi that's in the stars and above you. And then you have human Qi, like the energy that runs through your meridians. And then you have earth Qi, like the magnetism and the minerals in the earth. And then you have things like heat and light, right? And so when you're feeling Qi, you know, everyone feels it a little bit differently, but you might feel some sensations like warmth or tingling, or it might feel really heavy, or your body might feel really light, right? Or you might feel some coolness, or a flowing sensation of energy flowing from one part of your body down to another part of your body. And it might feel like radiance, like radiating energy, radiating outward You might feel energy pulling or drawing inward. It might feel really subtle and like vague and soft, or it might be dense and obvious. And so where and how do we get the chi? Like, how do we get this? And so there are lots of places that we receive chi, where we receive energy, primarily from the food we eat and from the water we drink and from nature, right? And from the sun and from the stars and from the planets and the comets, right? But we also get it from storms like thunder and lightning and wind and rain and snow, right? And we get it from the plants. And so from the food, but also from the herbs we consume, and then the herbs are turned into medications or turned into drugs. And so those affect our chi, and hormones, natural hormones, synthetic hormones. And then also from this electromagnetic field, from things like our cell phones and 5G and power lines. And we also get it from each other, from other people, and from animals, and from trees. And so those are some of the ways that we receive this chi. And so this conversation is about Qigong. And so now we kind of understand what chi is and what is Qigong. And loosely translated into English, Qigong means energy work. Some people would describe it as an internal martial art. And so then what is the purpose of this energy work? What is the purpose of Qigong? And so the purpose is essentially what we're doing is we're improving the flow of energy throughout our body so that we can store it and then we can utilize it. In other words, we cultivate energy, we circulate energy, and we store energy on purpose with intent. And so why would we ever even consider to store the energy? What are the benefits of Qigong? And so some of the most profound and obvious benefits of a Qigong practice that you'll notice pretty immediately is your overall health and vitality will improve, and your energy and your stamina increase. And your ability to like physically endure hard work or hold a stance or lift up heavy things or to go work longer and harder, that endurance increases. And the practice of Qigong, the movements will massage your internal vital organs. And so when they're stimulated and massaged, then they work optimally. So when your heart and lungs and your kidneys and liver are working more optimally, everything in your life improves. And then another benefit is that Qigong strengthens your immune system, balances your hormones, helps you cope with stress, and manage really intense emotions. And so the slow, simple, soft movements, when they're coordinated with your breath, they produce a really calm and deeply profound, relaxing sensation. And then what it leads to a clear and focused mind. And then it amplifies and elevates your spirit. And so for a lot of people, many of us that practice Qigong, it is the catalyst to their path of enlightenment or to their path of self-awakening or self-actualization. And there are thousands and thousands of different types of Qigong, literally thousands, and different expressions of Qigong. And so just in general, Qigong is divided into 4 schools. We have medical Qigong, which is for health and health maintenance and vitality. And then you have scholarly Qigong, which is really soft and really slow. It's more internal. And that is to help you have that profound sense of relaxation and mental focus and clarity. And then you have religious Qigong, which is more of a spiritual practice that leads to the path of enlightenment or self-actualization. And then you have martial Qigong. So martial Qigong is like martial arts. It's hard. It's all about power and strength and stamina and fighting and skill and endurance and self-defense, right? So when you practice that, it looks just like a hard style martial art. And as you can see, when I start to describe all the different benefits and the different schools of Qigong, you can see why so many different people come to Qigong for different purposes and different reasons. And you can also see how your practice can evolve and change and adapt to you and with you as you go through your life stages, right? And so that is that's one of the aspects of Qigong I like the best, because I would consider myself an evolving martial artist. How when I practiced when I was in my 20s, and then how when I practiced when I was in my 40s, and now how I'm practicing now is radically different. And so Qigong evolves with me. So let me know in the comments, those of you that are watching, why are you interested in Qigong? And yeah, because here I'm stepping more fully into my role as a Qigong teacher, right? And so as I'm doing that, I want to absolutely acknowledge, this is very important to me, I really want to acknowledge that there are ancient traditions and there are lineages that must be upheld. There are monks on Wudang Mountain in China, right? There are Buddhist monks and Shaolin monks. There are acupuncturists, traditional Chinese medical doctors. There are scholars. There are martial arts masters that have lived a life of learning and teaching and carrying on the traditions of Qigong, and they uphold these lineages, and they keep true to the art. And that's the thing, is I'm not that. Like, I'm not those things. I'm not that person. Here I am. I'm Maria. I'm a white woman. I'm a midwife. I'm a Western herbalist that lives in Arkansas, right? And I'm walking the wise woman path, but I'm not those things that I just described. Yet I've had the honor and the privilege of being and training with and being trained by the monks from Wudang Mountain and the Shaolin monks and the Chinese medical doctors and the martial arts masters, right? That's a privilege that I've experienced. And so I feel really compelled to share Qigong with all of you, and to not dilute the practice, and to be my authentic self, right? Because the way I teach Qigong, it honors the teaching and the lineage, and it is inspired by that, yet my teaching is unique and different because it comes from a place of feminine power. It comes from the wise woman path. It comes from the sitting and being with women's empowerment circles, being in ceremony, attending births, being in the red tent, right? It comes from holding sacred space for women as they transform and as they manifest the lives of their dreams. That's how my practice and my teaching style is unique, right? And so when I teach the movements, I teach the traditional movements as they were taught to me. And yet I bring my own flavor to it. So for example, here's a perfect example. In the 8 pieces of brocade, it is a very famous Qigong set of movements that is known worldwide. And in the practice, there is a movement called separating heaven and earth. I love that movement. And so we separate heaven and earth, right? And I teach it just like it was taught to me. And then I adapt it and I change it, because then I start to realize separating heaven and earth is a perfect way to embody healthy boundaries. So you can have healthy boundaries and you can be fully present in your life and say yes to what you need to say yes to and no what you need to say no to. And then there's another movement in the 8 pieces of brocade called the wise owl. So the wise owl is traditionally taught to help with your lungs and help open and close your chest, right? And so when you do the wise owl, you turn your head, right? You're in such a vulnerable position. And so when I teach it, I'm teaching you how to be vulnerable, how to see from all directions, to see what's behind you, where you've been, where you're going, how to be vulnerable, and how to heal a broken heart, to tend to the pain that's in your chest. You weren't hit by an arrow. You have a broken heart, right? And so my teaching style helps bring to light a way that a modern woman and a modern warrior could understand. So in my sessions, I almost stopped calling them classes, right? They're more like circles. And so when we start with a deep bow, and then we call in the 7 sacred directions, and we come into vertical alignment. And then, we start our practice. And then based on the season that we're in, we practice based on nature. So for example, when we're in the spring, we focus on our liver. And then when we're in the summer, we focus on our hearts. And in the late summer, our spleens. And in the fall, our lungs. And in the winter, our kidneys. Right? And we open our spines and we circulate the energy, and then we lead it to our dantian to store it. So we lead it to our womb space so we can manifest and we can create. Right? And then we also lead it to our bones, because women have packed mystery and knowledge and lineage and magic in their bones since the beginning. Right? And so when I speak and teach, I evoke and invoke prayers and affirmations that encourage you to go to your past and your present and into your future, so that you can integrate all of yourselves, and so you can remember your wholeness. Because life is stirring within you, and it wants to be expressed, it wants to be held, it wants to be seen, and it wants to be activated and remembered. And so for those of you that are watching, I would love to invite you to join me in Qigong practice every Friday morning on Zoom. And it does not matter if you're super flexible or you can barely touch your toes, or if you're like young or nearly 100. If you need to sit down or use the wall for support, none of that matters. You're all invited. So the information, the registration and information is in the description. And for those of you that are watching live here right now, I'd like to let you know that you are invited to a special New Year's Day celebration. Right? I'm going to be teaching one of my favorite forms called the alchemy of self, and a breath that's for your guardian chi to help protect your immune system, to boost your immune system, and to boost your confidence so you can stand on your own 2 feet, solid and steady. And then the alchemy of self form is perfect for this time of year, because we're at the end of the year and we're starting a brand new year. And so the alchemy of self helps us integrate with all of last year, all of our lessons, all of our wins, all of our losses, all of our joys, all of our pains, all of it. Helps us integrate with all of it so that we can step into the great mystery of 2021 integrated and confident, even though we don't know what's about to happen. You don't have to have all your goals figured out. You don't have to have all your New Year's resolutions planned. Nope, you don't have to have any of that. All you need is to bless the mess, show up perfectly imperfect, right? And integrate. And the alchemy of self-form teaches us how to do that. It teaches us how to do that very, very well. And so again, all the details and the registration is in the description. And I'm going to give you a deep bow. And I'm going to bow. We bow to our teachers, teachers, and the teacher within. And until next time, my friends, drink deep and always walk in beauty.